Hello, Senior Stoner fans. It's the real Senior Stoner back at you for your dab of the day. Today is Friday. This is going to be a Crimson Card dab of the day. But before we get to that, I want to get to the topic of the day, which is very serious and very important. Mrs. Stoner's out of town. I'm alone. Before she left, a couple days before she left, an interesting discussion took place that we had, and I want to share the topic because it's incredibly important. What do we do, people like us, in emergencies? And I'm going to talk about different types of emergencies. But people with pain, people that take pharmaceutical medication for pain, plus other medicine, in emergencies. How do we deal with those types of things? Now, also, to the degree of pain we live in, how do we deal with emergencies to begin with? Mrs. Stoner and I were talking about it because we were talking about hurricanes and things that happen that take power out and stuff like that, and maybe even make it so you can't get to a store in a bad winter storm. It's very difficult to plan ahead for weather. Excuse me. People always say keep a safety stock. When you travel, bring a little extra medicine. When you're even in the car, make sure you have some with you. But people don't say have forever with you. It's impossible. You can prep to a point, but you can't prep everything. You can't prep your blood pressure medicine, your pain medicine, and all that years down the road if the infrastructure in the United States was to crumble and topple down. But let's not go catastrophically like that. Let's stay specifically on emergencies that we know about, whether they're natural emergencies, hurricanes, floods, things like that that you might have experienced, or bad weather in the wintertime that we're going to experience, blizzards, things like that, where you're locked in, can't get out. If you live in the backcountry, if you live in a harsh weather place, you know what I'm talking about. And even if you live in Florida, you know what I'm talking about. You got to hit the road looking for an alternate place if you're on an evacuation area. What do people like us do? How does somebody react when they say, all right, time for you to evacuate, and you can hardly stand? You're Napoleon because you got IBS. Your back has you so you have ice on it. You can't get up out of the chair, and your brain's handled by 4 Vicodin and as much as you can smoke and eat in a day. I guess we're not moving too fast, are we? There's no rally point down the block for us. What happens? What do we do? How do we survive these things? Well, the only thing that logically came to mind was an incredible amount of planning and an incredible amount of discussion with your doctor, because how are you going to amass, forget this type of medicine, how are you going to amass pharmaceutical medicine? It's tracked very carefully. Very, very difficult to amass pharmaceutical medication, especially of a narcotic. What do we do? How will we survive? How will people like us with anxiety medicine make it an extra week if we don't get it? Come on, all of you out there know what I'm talking about who deal with this. You all know what I'm talking about. 2 days before you got to get to the doctor to get your medicine, what's happening? When that system, when that protective system that we have to help us is gone, what do we do? I don't know that there's a good solution. I think we have to strap on our seatbelts. Hopefully we're in a really good, comfortable jet plane type chair, because we're off for a ride that I don't know what it would be like. But here's what I want to say to you about it. For short trips, for your car, ladies, for your purses, keep a little extra medicine with you. You just don't know when something's going to stop you from getting home that night. Have an extra day or two. What if the bridge is out? What if there's a flash flood? What if the snow gets so bad that you couldn't get home, you couldn't leave work early enough? You know what I'm talking about. Now let's go to the other scenario, which I think is maybe even worse than what I just described. You have a health emergency for a loved one or a pet. I'll say it again. You have a health emergency for a loved one or a pet. What do we do? Remember the scenario. You're Napoleon here because your IBS is out. Your back hasn't allowed you even to walk to the bathroom today. You're using a bedpan. You got ice on it. and your animal starts crying. Your sister, brother, spouse, child starts crying or complaining, oh my God, what do I do? I'm in so much pain, or really gets sick. How do we help them when we are so bad? First thing that's going to happen, and you have to understand this is reality, is you're going to go crazy. It's going to amp up your anxiety if you get anxious, and it's going to be worse than you've ever had. Then you're going to have to settle it down. And you're going to have to really assess the situation and decide how to handle it. There's an Uber in most areas. Try for an Uber. Try for a taxi. Try to call someone. If you fall in the bathroom or at home, you call your police department if you don't have a pendant. And you say, I've fallen. It's called a lift assist. You need to say, I need a lift assist. My mother's fallen in the bathroom. Whatever. Okay? God forbid. With a pet, today, there are ways to get a pet evaluated without leaving your home. There are apps on your phone that will connect you to licensed professional veterinarians who will visualize the dog and tell you what to do. If it was a choking or a feeling sick situation or something like that. Obviously, you're not going to get an x-ray or anything here, but maybe you can put your mind at ease. This is only if you really can't get out. If you're getting out, you need to make sure you have a go bag. The go bag should include a thing like TENS unit, a heat pad, an ice pad, a cushion to sit on, a brace, a cane. If it's not already in your car, put it by your back door. Because in a state of emergency where you have to react, you have to remember what they say on airplanes. Put your mask on before your child's mask. So before you can take care of Pooch or your family or your friend, you've got to take care of yourself and be prepared for the trip to wherever you're going. A hospital, a veterinary hospital, wherever you're going. Now, 911. I can't tell you over the last 4 or 5 years how many times I've told Mrs. Stoner, I want to go to the hospital. Take me to the hospital. Send me to the hospital. Because the pain gets so bad sometimes. You have to do a self-triage. And you have to assess whether you're having pancreatitis, whether you're having IBS, whether you're having normal neuromuscular, unfortunate neuropathic pain that can't be stopped. You have to evaluate that here in your own body. No one can do it for you. You have to do it to make the true assessment. Because here's what you face. Here's the reason I say this. If it was going to your concierge doctor, I would say, get in the car and go. But you're going to an emergency room, or you're calling them to come to you to take you to an emergency room. You may look fine, and that's the unfortunate part about this, because when you get to the hospital, they're not going to consider how you say you feel. They're going to consider how you look and how you test. So if they can't empirically find something wrong with you, and I see this happening day in and day out on Facebook, chronic pain and chronic back sufferers, it happens constantly. Run to the hospital because you're feeling so bad. The first thing they accuse you of is coming in to get pills. Think about it. And the next thing they say is, we can't find anything. Here are 2 ibuprofen, go home. You're a crybaby. You may run into Dracula, and I say that lightly, who's trying to change you, who will tell you you shouldn't be on the pills. What doctor gave you these? And give you the whole spiel of get off them, because that's the way the emergency rooms operate now. So the fear of an emergency room should be there for you. You don't want to go. And I'm sure there are going to be a lot of people commenting about emergency rooms that they're really exactly like I say they are. They're there for emergencies. They're not there for you to go to and be told you're okay. That's not going to work in a place like that. Call me. Now, the other thing you can do in emergencies, and there are other types of emergencies. What if you have a psychiatric emergency? You call your shrink. Doesn't matter if it's a PhD psychologist or an MD psychiatrist. You'll call them and you'll get their voicemail. And it will say, if you feel you're in a life-threatening situation, call the 911 or show up at your emergency room. You know why? What I just described to you is why. Okay? I mean, you can do that, But with modern technology, here's another way to play that game. You can't reach your therapist. You're having a hard time, and it's anxiety driven. I got a little bit of bipolar in me, okay? So let's say I'm having a real anxious day. You know what I would do? I'm not going to the emergency room. Mrs. Stoner doesn't like this, but I think it's genius. I'm going to go on my iPhone and I'm going to go to the App Store and I'm going to download the app that puts a psychologist on a FaceTime with me for $35 for 30 minutes. And I'm going to get the pressure out of the tire. I'm not going to solve the problem. I'm going to buy myself time to decide, do I really need to go to the emergency room? My wife will say, don't go, even if your arm is dragging on the floor disconnected to the shoulder. Don't go. I say go if I have a hangnail. So there's somewhere in between is the right place about 911 in hospitals, emergency rooms, okay? But for psychiatric and psychological things, there may be a midway place for you to be comfortable. By that, I mean you may not have to leave your home. What I was thinking of doing, well, let me explain something. I've had a therapist for many, many years, and eventually he's going to retire. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to necessarily engage a new physical face-to-face therapist. Why? Because what if Mrs. Stoner and I relocate when she retires? These things have to be discussed. I don't want to have another relationship where I'll be pulled away. But there's a new thing going on with telemedicine. That's right, telemedicine. I mean, you can even get your throat diagnosed. They can look right down your throat. They can look at your eyes. They can look at a skin rash. There are a lot of things they can do over an iPhone for you health-wise. Some of the healthcare companies even have, with their programs free, you can reach them and do that. I know Horizon had it. I'm not sure if AARP United Healthcare has it. But there are these apps. And for $35 to $50, what if you save yourself going to the emergency room where they're going to look at you like what are you here for? Because I know your shrinks and my shrinks have always put that on their voicemails, but it makes no sense. It should be a referral like a chiropractor. You call a chiropractor's office when they're not there or on vacation. Hi, this is Dr. Senior Stoner. Sorry, I'm on vacation right now. Please call Dr. Other Senior Stoner. Here's his phone number. He's covering for me. So, that's the problem with the personal doctors like that, is it's very hard to have a replacement. But I hope this helps. I know it's a difficult topic. I know it's a difficult topic for us to even believe it happens, that we're ever going to need it. But if I can just tell you that there are about 12 million preppers out there, prepper families out there in the country. I'm a bit of a prepper. And the number of dollars involved in the prepping industry is about $12.5 billion. It's a very big industry. This is just a way to prep for the emergency softly. The small stuff that goes wrong, okay? I'm not talking about Armageddon. I didn't go there. I didn't go to nuclear war, God forbid. I'm talking about natural disasters and things that can happen that could make you have an emergency situation. Let's take our dab. Hopefully I've helped people understand that there are ways to get ahead of these things. Don't wait until it's too late. That's the saying, very popular saying. Don't wait until it's too late. Plan now. When my children were young, God forbid there was ever a problem in our house, they knew to go to the mailbox at the end of the driveway. That would be our meeting spot. That's right. They knew. We're not kids anymore. But we have to protect ourselves like we are. This is all about contingencies. It is not about it definitely happening. It's about what if it happens. How will you be able to handle it if it does happen? And remember, we are handicapped with our pain, with our methods to stop the pain, with our health, with our methods to stop the health issues. We need medicine. You need to make sure you back yourself up with your medicine. You need to make sure. Make a go bag. You won't be sorry. Cheers. Excuse me. I had it on 3 bars. Oh boy. Here we go. This is one of those hits. My ears are kind of going right now. I almost say to you guys, I want to be like this all day. But it's a step where you feel like you're going to get unconscious. So it might not be that good. Wow. Excuse me. Wow. Well, if you ever want to get toasted fast, turn it up to 3 on the Carter, take a hit. It will do what it just did to me. This has been the Real Senior Stoner discussing emergencies and pain and how we deal with it. Hope you enjoyed. Hope it's helpful. Have a good Friday. Cheers.